This conference will now be recorded.
Hotep everyone, welcome back to our introduction to the Kemetic calendar coming out in July 2025, where I want to go over a bit of information about the northern stars again, as in my last video, called Tawort and Mesquetio. So we're going to talk about a few things in this image, where here we have Big Mama Hippo Tawort, or Hesamut, mother of great milk. Here is the hippo woman. She's holding a pole which has a staff to which the staff has a set of wires or cords going to this constellation of the Big Dipper. Okay, now I want to talk about these strange symbols we're seeing here. For example, what exactly is this pole? What exactly is this line? What exactly is this strange bow-like shape upon which the bull walks? And the way I've decoded it is by going to an astronomy software, a kind of high-end astronomy software called Starry Night Pro. You see at the bottom +8. Okay, so this here, this dragon is the same as the hippopotamus. They call it a dragon. In Western astrology, we call it Tawort or Hesamut or Reret, the big mama hippo. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in right here at this little, where the word Draco is. If I zoom in here, you see a word appears. North ecliptic pole. Right around here is NGC, which I believe is a nebula known as the Cat's Eye Nebula. The Cat's Eye Nebula, which is right near visually, or if you could really see it clearly without a micro telescope, near the North Ecliptic Pole. Now, what was she holding? She was holding a pole. So I'm asserting that this pole, which is the ecliptical pole, for example, what I mean by that is basically the pole, think of a cherry, or think of an olive that you pierce with a toothpick. So the toothpick would be the pole of the olive, the pole of the cherry. Okay, if you had the sun and you pierced it with a giant toothpick, it'd go through the center of the sun. And the center of that line that cuts through the sun, the center of the toothpick, would be the pole of the ecliptic, because the ecliptic is a path that the Earth takes around the sun, apparently, but it's actually what the path of the, it's visually what the path of the sun is in the sky. So the ecliptic pole would be the center of the sun. Okay, so this is, and the ecliptic pole, as you see, is in Draco, the hippo, the dragon. That's the first thing. The second thing is, let's look at these lines here going from the ecliptic pole area, or from the Draco constellation towards the Big Dipper constellation here. Okay, let's see if we can find some kind of correlate. Let's make this zoom out now. Some kind of correlate in the sky. So here we have, I'm going to pull this down. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we have the 7 stars, here the 4 bowl stars and the 3 tail stars of the Big Dipper. This star called Al-Qaid, I'll zoom in a bit to it, which is the end of the handle part of the Big Dipper, right here. We call it Ak in Egyptian, AK, and it's the star of the hoof, the tippy toe of the bull in ancient Kemet. It is the beginning of the ladle handle in the Western constellation rendition. Now, let's go back one more time. We see here from Draco, from Tawort, a bunch of lines. Let's see if we can find that on our astronomy software. And I'm going to kind of twist the sky a bit, rotate it. Okay, so here's Big Mama. Here's the pole, the ecliptic North Pole that she's guarding with her hands. And is there a line going from the Draco area, from over this area, towards this Big Dipper, which is the tail there? So here's the 4 stars and the tail. Is there any such line that goes towards this tail from the Draco? You see it. The North Ecliptic Pole here, and there's a string that goes from that line, this green line, to the tippy toe, the hoof of the bull, or the beginning of the ladle handle. Let's look at it one more time. Okay, going from here to the bull. Okay, so this I'm saying is the North Ecliptic Pole itself, and sometimes it's shown as a chain. The chain that goes towards the end of that constellation is the chain, and you can see it here, it'll say ecliptic meridian. It'd be kind of hard to read it, but it says, if you make it smaller, you'll see it there. So this line, this green line, is called the ecliptic meridian line. Here is the ecliptic North Pole on that line. And then this line goes right to capture the hoof of the ladle of the bull. So I'm asserting that this chain, this line, is the line of the ecliptic meridian. This is the exact ecliptic meridian pole. Okay, and what is this kind of bow-like shape that this bull is walking on? Let's see, can we find something in the sky? Okay, so if I rotate it and kind of center here, oh my goodness, okay, and I kind of center here, let's see if we can get this bigger and come on down. It's doing something very strange here. Let's go back this way. Oh my heavens. Let me go larger. There we go. Okay. I had it before. I'm not sure what this is doing. It's very strange. Let's go a little smaller. There we go. Now I can rotate it. Okay. Now we see right away, this is the main haunch of the bull, but they added other stars to make it a full bull, like a full bear here. And the only line that would be where the bull's legs could be that match would be this blue line. You see the bear is walking on that blue line. What is that line? Let's follow it until we find the word, the galactic meridian. So what I'm asserting is that this is the line of the galactic meridian. This is shown here as this bow. Let's go back one more time to our software. Now, what's interesting to me is it shows this kind of bend in the line here. This kind of bend here, which tells me there's something happening there. There might be a force there. Let's see what we can maybe surmise there. Well, if this is the line of the galactic meridian, this blue line, here we have the meridian, this green line, which is due south, due north line, going kind of right in the middle of its steps. So it could be that that swelling there represents that the blue galactic meridian ground is bifurcated or intersected with, not bifurcated, but intersected with the meridian of true north-south. So galactic meridian here, and in the middle, it intersects with the meridian of culmination or anti-culmination, north-south, true north, true south. Okay? And so that's pretty much all I wish to cover. Let's make sure that's it. Okay, so again, I want to give you a kind of sense of how I've been decoding this image, decoding this Kemetic view of the constellations. Okay, and sometimes this pole here shown, this is shown as part of the Eye of Heru, the long part of the Eye of Heru. It's also said to be made of flint, a kind of knife made of flint sometimes. It's sometimes shown as a bowl, a potter's bowl. And sometimes there's two poles here, where one is a kind of pole like this, and one's a crocodile. Okay, and let's see if we can find that crocodile somewhere. Let's go back to Draco. Let's center it here. Okay. And Draco pole, that's a ecliptic meridian, the ecliptic meridian there. Is there another pole near here? There's the ecliptic pole that's going again. You see it there behind the word Draco. North ecliptic pole. And if I add, let's see, if I put the grid, I think I need to put the, let's see, if I put the meridian grid, let's try that. The meridian grid, it's coming in red. Let's see if that helps us here. If I come over here, here is the Polaris here, the North Pole star. And there is near Draco Pole a major meridian line also going through there, right through the pole. That could be a contender for the crocodile pole, the crocodile symbol, which is not shown in the image I showed you. And so that basically wraps up this part of what I want to cover and how I'm decoding the calendar, I'm decoding the constellations. I'm using very strict astronomy software to help me to figure out what they're referring to. And it's amazing that the Blacks of the Nile were able to chart these ecliptical and galactic and supergalactic lines, these meridian lines, and encode them with such uncanny precision, really, in their images. I have a video on the Zodiac of Dendera where I discuss these supergalactic lines and all these other lines. They seem to have been very, very ingenious at discovering and then encoding. Okay, so that's it on this. I hope that you enjoyed watching how astronomy from the Blacks of the Nile is coming back into vogue, into resurrection for the good of humanity, because these Reret, or the hippo, Tawort, Big Mama, in the ancient, there's an ancient reference to her being the original Hall of Ma'at. That before Ma'at, the goddess of judgment, of character and morality, was given that title, it was Tawort. It was called the Hall of Tawort, where the soul was judged, you see? And the ecliptic pole is a very stable pole. In fact, the ecliptic pole is the pole around which the Earth pole stars orbit. So let me give you an example. If I go here, okay, so it's shown here. Let me make it a little smaller. Let me remove the meridian grid to make it less noisy. If you look here at the north ecliptic pole, you see a red circle with dates. Okay, let's say the dates start, let's see over here, 1 AD, 2000 BC, 2000 BC, 2200 AD, 21,000, 22,000 AD, 21,000, 18,000 AD. What it's describing, this circle around Draco, and sometimes this ecliptical pole was called the breast of Tawort, the teat of Tawort, or the pole, the flint knife. So we can call this the breast of Tawort, and I find that language to be very useful mythologically. Okay, of the ecliptic meridian line going here, you see the word ecliptic meridian, goes right through the pole near her breast, we can say, as well. And circling her breast is this kind of aureola, this red aureola, we can say, of the pole stars. Okay, so right now Polaris happens to be closest to this red circle of pole stars, and we've had other pole stars before. Okay, so here, that's Thuban, around the age of the pyramids. The Earth pointed to this as a pole star. Okay, and then 2000 BC was here, 1 AD was there, and now in our era, 2025, it's here. So this staff, this pole, this breast of hers is what centers the cycle of the precession of the equinoxes. The 25,920 year cycle of the pole stars. She controls them. And the pole stars tell you what is going to center the development of life and consciousness on Earth. And in Dendera, as in my video I discussed on my Dendera video many years ago, this Polaris is shown as a jackal, what the Dogon call the pale fox, the rise of the white races, and the rise of technology, because this star is shown in Dendera as a jackal on top of a tilling tool. And that means the Earth is pointing to the North Pole star Polaris now, which is the jackal star. The Dogon call the pale fox, or the white races of the North. And the tilling tool they use means they're going to take over the Earth. They're going to try to control the Earth through jackal powers, cunning, trickery, manipulation, that kind of thing. And soon, the pole stars will go near Cepheus. You see, we're going to leave the pole stars soon and go towards Cepheus, which is an African king, which is going to refer to the rise of Africa, the land of blacks, into the world stage again, its resources being revealed to its black leaders. And a lot of the things we're seeing in terms of politics are because this is the star of the white man using cunning and predatory, or jackals. They do kill. They will kill. They also are. They will eat carcasses. They will steal from other nations, other peoples, their resources. Well, that star around 2100 AD will start leaving polar positioning and moving towards Cepheus here. Cepheus was an Ethiopian king, meaning the prediction is that soon the Earth will no longer support the white races, the Eurasian races, controlling everyone's resources. And then we'll go towards the blacks of Africa. Africa will rise again as Cepheus. I may do a whole video on that prediction of the rise of Africa, the land of black people. I don't like the word Africa. I like the word land of black people better. And but again, it is the pole that the pole star of Tawort, her breast, that controls this aureola of Earth's pole stars over the generations of the precession of the equinox. Okay, so with that, I wish to thank you for your focus and your attention on this divine sign of the skies. And remember, in my world, it's all love. So may you all be surrounded in love. Dwell in Hotepu.